All right, so we are live. This is kind of pre-show right now. Upload failed. I want to keep an eye on this. I don't know if it times out or what. I got a hard line here. This is nice. Missy upgraded my hotel.
Nice.
I hope it's being covered, but Missy upgraded.
Hold on 1 second. I'm just going to shut my door.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here.
You know what? I'm going to do something different here. Just have like too many windows going on, so... Put this guy here. Yeah, that's all I need for you guys. Put this guy down here. Put this guy over here. And then, do we still have a screen share? We do. So I can do this. Bink. And show off stuff. Is that like full screen for you?
Hold on. It's a window inside of full screen, but yeah.
How's that? That a little better?
Whoa. There's
Hey.
Tuckers.
Hi, hold on. Let's fix this real quick. I said phones. Technology.
Phone.
Stupid technology being a butt face. It's me again.
Move this.
Angry Pushing.
Awesome.
Wow, that was a lot quicker.
Angry Pushing.
Kick-a-poo. Kick-a-poo.
See how small I can make you guys.
Awesome things not announced at WWDC.
Yeah.
Well, that's my favorite thing, and we'll talk about it obviously in the show, but all of the stuff that was not covered, but is, to me, deserves a lot of focus. Obviously, they only have so much time on stage, but
Katie, are you ready for a very Apple-y episode?
Appalicious. Don't mind me.
Is your awesome thing going to be an Apple thing?
Me? No. It's a physical thing.
All right, we're going to let you go first to set the tone. All right.
Let's see.
I think we're good to go if you guys are. I should probably find the chat room.
Sorry. This is the first time I've I've done a remote in a while, and I like how they're like, this will be broadcast on YouTube. People you don't know might watch you.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh, man.
Just in case you don't know, well, that's weird. Why doesn't the live show up? Okay. This should be the chat here. Where's the chat?
I just keep rotating. Don't mind me. Totally normal. Nothing to see here. Nope, now you're going to lose me. That's just weird.
What the heck? I don't see any chat on this video.
You have to
control room, maybe. Yeah, but no, that's for us. But I mean, like on the broadcast page, there's not one.
Oh, there's probably not one.
There usually is when we do it from the other one. Hold on, I'm gonna go to the control room. Maybe there's something in there. No, this is weird. In phone settings. Usually Mike sets it up, so maybe has something to do with it. Still. Okay, we'll set. It's live events. What's this page? Nope. Okay, it is that mic. Cool. Okay, sorry, everybody on the stream. I'm not sure why we don't have a chat room. Okay. All right, let's get started. Hey guys, it's the AwesomeCast, episode 351. I'm Mike Sorg at Sorgatron on the Twitter. Ready to get geeky with you, get awesome here. I am not in the studio in Pittsburgh, PA, representing the flyover state. I'm actually in Peoria, Illinois, actually for Baja SAE. Actually got called out here a day early, so we kind of adjusted things a little bit, and I made sure I have a nice hard line here at the hotel and everything. So we're on Google Hangout, so hopefully everything works out pretty well. So a little bit of a switch up here for you guys that maybe join us here live here every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time, which I'm in different time zones, so it's been really screwing with me. With me from Studio C is just muted himself, John Chichilla, joining us.
Hey, sorry, I was clearing my throat there. Yeah, there's no one in the studio tonight. It's kind of a different night.
I think Missy's there hanging out by herself, taking show notes and everything like that. So there's her and the pizza dog, and I wonder if she went and got the pizza.
Oh, that's not cool. She's eating the pizza place.
If I would have known she got the pizza, I would have gone to the studio.
We're still like they're expecting us to come get the sponsor pizza. So she completely could have she's just going to split it with the dog at this point. So other voice you heard there is Katie Dudas. She is the social media guru over at the Scare House. I always slip on what your actual title is. But
that works for me.
Yeah, it works. It works. It pretty much boils it down for you. Social media guru and zombie wrangler over at the Scare House. Actually, really cool things going on over there. You guys are showing a lot of the teardown from one of your sets and everything. I was looking at some pictures on Facebook today of where the giant crap clown was and everything like that. So
yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's been awesome because we've been able to show a lot more. I'm so excited. Actually, this is my home. That is my TV with my VCR DVD combo. Thank you, Sorg. You can see Boba Fett standing behind it. Yep. Those of you on audio, sorry, you're missing my home.
We often talk about how Chill is like the gadget guru and he lives in the future, and Katie just willfully lives in the past.
Her house is heated by the fireplace behind her.
Exactly,
yes.
Right? So anyways, this is your AwesomeCast where we talk about all kinds of tech and fun and geeky things. You can check it out here, live.awesomecast.com, although that link's not going to work too well this week. Usually we're on the Facebook Live where you can join us in the chat room, which we also don't have this week, and I thought we were going to have with this Google Hangout thing. So either way, we'll be tweeting. Watch out for different changes and stuff like that as we go through the week here, and things change. Hopefully this settles down after this June, and we get back in studio every week, because I think we got to do this at least one more time in a weird time slot. And also please check us out and follow everything at awesomecast.com. Subscribe to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and look for video versions and sometimes streams on the Facebook and YouTube page for AwesomeCast. And also thanks to our Patreon supporters, our friends Matt Weller at the Coffee Club level at $5 over at patreon.com/awesomecast. AwesomeCast, as well as Mike Fedor, fan of the show level at $1. Thank you so much, guys, for supporting the show and checking us out and really getting behind us on this stuff. Also, thanks to our streaming partners, RiversedgePGH.com, as well as the 405media.com. Thanks to those guys for getting us out to other ear holes out there across the nation, around the world, on their streaming platforms. So let's get into the awesome things of the week. And of course, the big topic of the week is going to be bacon.
Everyone loves bacon.
Who doesn't love bacon?
Katie, what's your awesome thing?
So I went to lunch today up in Robinson, and I ended up at Rocket Fizz. I don't know if you've ever been there. It's the candy store next to Burgatory. Oh, all the different fun I mean, it's ridiculous how much different candy they have. They're just weird, odd, awesome things. And they have all these ridiculous sodas. And I today was drinking Lester Fixin's bacon soda with chocolate.
Oh, jeez.
So they have all kinds of very, very weird flavored sodas, things I've never heard before, but obviously I had to try the bacon one with chocolate. And I can report back, it tastes more like chocolate than bacon. Like the initial taste is kind of bacony, but then it goes right into chocolate, like a dilly bar kind of chocolate, we determined.
You kind of hope it would be, right?
Yes. They had, it was like the weirdest, I mean, it's amazing. Their selection is unreal, and you actually get a soda punch card because they have so many different kinds of soda there. But it was really cool. Like, it's a really cool place to check out if you've never been there. Just like I said, a ton of different kinds of candy and just weird, geeky, fun things. So yeah, our crowd, totally.
I've never heard of this. But this is the week for sweet things, because we actually go to the Sugar Factory in New York for Chachi's bachelor party weekend.
Oh yeah.
And it was like all these like sugar infused drinks and milkshakes. There was a milkshake with a cheeseburger hanging off of it, like a midi slider cheeseburger hanging off of it, and stuff with like not dry ice, but whatever bubbly stuff that they use and everything like that. So I have to check this out. I didn't know that there was a place like this over in Robinson. So yeah,
it's up by Burgatory, so it's kind of off by the where the Walmart is located, that little plaza back there. See, it's not really on like the main drag. It's that other little section up there. But yeah, you have to check it out. There's a Ms. Pac-Man machine in there, free play.
Not free play.
Near the burger, like what's the burger shop that's there? There's Burgatory. Isn't something else there?
Firehouse Subs is next door too.
Five Guys?
Five Guys.
That's it, yeah.
Yep. I'll have to check that out next time we're down at Costco.
If you want to check them out, they're on Twitter. I was shown an image there. It should be coming through on the video at Rockin' Fizz Robin on Twitter. And I guess there's not a website, so check that out.
Yes.
But I have. Okay, let's separate this. I'm okay for chill. And if you have one too, I'm going to do a non-Apple awesome thing of the week.
Is there such a thing?
Well, the aforementioned Sugar Factory we went to, right? We got there a little early, and it's over by the Chelsea Market, actually where I went to pick up my Google Glass so long ago. So it was kind of cool to revisit that neighborhood and see all the stuff that they've done with it. But we stopped by with like right next door. We're like, let's go in here, and then it made sense. Samsung's 837. It's basically kind of an Apple store, but I don't know how much they sell there. Like, obviously they sell things. It's like 2-3 stories. One story goes down, and you go in and they have like a 4D theater with, the Gear VRs and moving chairs going on, right? You go and there's this prism thing with like 5 Samsungs set up, and they take pictures, and it's a kaleidoscope set up, and then there's a giant 3-story wall through the entire thing, and your image pops up on there. I'll see if I can find the image. The image isn't really impressive because I'm too tall, and I took like a picture of my Transformers t-shirt for the most part instead of like me. But then like we walked upstairs, and it's got Samsung fridges. Riz and Chachi were trying to order Grubhub on their fridge, and like it takes a picture inside and everything like that. It was a big show off space for Samsung things. which was really cool. And of course, there's like tech, and there was like a coffee shop in there, and all this kind of stuff. Very that kind of New Yorky kind of thing, right? So it was really cool. I didn't know Samsung had stores like this, right? Again, it's the 837 NYC Washington Street in New York. You can look it up at samsung.com/US/837. And it looks like they have like other events and everything in there, because there's kind of a presentation space going on. Let me see. I got some pictures here. That when I throw up images, is that going to all you guys too? Let me do that.
There we go.
There you go. So this is here's some images of inside, and there's the big like 3-story wall, and there's a presentation space, like kind of like the tiered steps and everything like that. And again, just VR setup so you can check out in this little lounge area. Like I said, it seems like it is more show off than buy devices kind of thing. So it's a little bit of a different approach than Apple. It's just like, hey, here's all the devices laid out.
I personally like the show off space because it kind of gives you the art of the possible versus here's a bunch of our devices laying around a room, try them out, take them home, and do what you want with them. I feel like they've taken it to the next level in some of these pictures and kind of showing you not only can you buy the device, but if you use it in this fashion or in this manner, look at everything you can do with it. Like I expect your studio to be like that studio space.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they're having these launches, like a panel reception about launching a side hustle with the new Galaxy Tab S3. What? Born This Way Foundation showing from Lady Gaga's Born This Way Foundation, having an evening there. So it's really cool, and nice little look at that. Just the cool surprise in technology, because of course, being in New York, we stop at the Nintendo World Store, and there's always like these flagship stores, NHL store, things like that, and a nice surprise that Samsung has something cool. Chachi was going around pulling out his essay and saying, "You're home," So that was really cool. And there's an Apple store around the corner. I just did not care to go in because Apple stores aren't exciting anymore. So
did the new Pittsburgh store? I would have been interested if you did go in because they were remodeling a lot of the stores recently to completely revamp the look and feel and redo a lot of the displays.
I don't know, but I did hear that the one outside FAO Sorts, the Cube, is now in FAO Sorts. So I would love to see what that looks like. It can't be taking up the entire space because FAO Sorts was huge.
Yeah, and that's a temporary while they redo
the other one.
While they redo Fifth Avenue.
Either way, so pretty cool. pretty cool. All right.
So I did come up with an alternative. So we were actually in search of food, and for once we didn't want pizza. So we went on Grubhub. We went on Grubhub, and it was like pizza shop after pizza shop after pizza shop. I'm like, well, this isn't what I want. It's pretty much everywhere else I could just typically order from around here. So hopped on Uber Eats and looked around the city. So I was pretty impressed. Pretty much identical to ordering your Uber. You can order food from a number of places. We ordered from the pub and chip shop down on the south side. Obviously reusing a lot of the UI elements. I was pretty impressed with the menuing system and ordering. It was extremely easy to figure out, what was on the menu, what toppings I wanted, what kind of extra sauces I would like, et cetera, et cetera. And then once you ordered it, almost identical to your Uber experience, it pretty much said finding a driver, or actually it said submitting your order, and I got push notifications through the process of my order was submitted, it was in the kitchen being prepped, my driver was assigned and en route to pick it up, the driver was on the way, and just like the Uber interface for when you're actually in the car or the car's on the way, you can then track the food en route. So pretty darn impressive. And got here, the food was still hot, everything was great, and I think it was only $5 above what it typically would be. So it was pretty darn cool.
It's not bad. I was wondering about that. It was actually strange when they launched that one weekend because I was out driving. Still, I haven't driven for like a month. I think all of my documents have expired in the app and everything. So, like, I got the emails like, "Where have you been?" But they didn't, like, it defaulted, and I was getting Uber Eats stuff, and I'm like, I don't even know how to do this. I'm not doing this. After my short two ride stint with Postmates. So that's cool. I was really impressed with how I put up the website while you're talking here, how localized even just the website is. And it lists like Double White Grill and Pub Chip Shop and things like that, very local to Pittsburgh on their localized site. So cool. A nice new option. Hopefully they deliver to me where Postmates doesn't, if I'd like it. So we'll see how that goes. All right. Well, first I want to give a shout out to our good friends before we get to the main event of our awesome Apple things of the week. Of course, WWDC was this week, and we're Apple fanboys and girls. So we'll probably get a little bit of a deep dive into it. But first, I want to give a shout out to our friends up in Pittsburgh podcasting with the perfect pepperoni pizza. Our friends over at SliceOnBroadway.com. I actually ordered some last night with their new online ordering because I wanted to get a little bit of Pittsburgh before I head out to Peoria. I go all the P's today, I know. So they're over there, back home near the studio in Beachview, right along the tracks over there, as well as in Carnegie, PA, right on Main Street in PNC Park, home of the Pittsburgh Pirates. So thank you so much to those guys. Check them out at sliceonbroadway.com. All right, let's talk WWDC. I haven't looked at the website actually since they talked about all this to see how that stuff looked. So let me if I can geek out video a little bit for a moment here, because AR, VR, and video editing, and we're going to give you some nice shiny high-end stuff if you want to do that with the iPad, or I'm sorry, the iMac. Jeez, this is all getting confusing now. The iMac Pro later in this year. So I'm feeling pretty good as a professional in the Apple space right now. Because I mean, it's like everything. I mean, Katie, we've been talking a lot about VR and spherical. I guess all three of us have, and the fact that they're going to, I know I'm glossing a lot of stuff here. They're going to be putting those tools into Final Cut, native. There was the plugin that I was looking at for about $1,200 that just went free a couple months ago. I think I know why now, because they got Sherlock. And in the meantime, we have some amazing looking stuff coming. We kind of know what the next Pro thing is. This nice space gray, because that's professional and sexy. So, and again, they previewed it, which, you don't get that a lot except for like in this Pro thing. Up to 18 cores in an iMac. They have a whole new cooling system. There's Xeon processors. It's crazy what they're going to be doing with this thing. Of course, it's going to start at like, I don't know what, $5,000 or something like that. But if you're in that, I don't think this is me as a small video shop is going to be able to roll with this thing, but this is a realistic professional thing, and I think for the people still running on these, so Thunderbolt 3, they talked about how Thunderbolt, the expandability is basically going to be Thunderbolt. We're leaning on that at this point, kind of what we did in the Trash Can Mac Pro, not the official term Trash Can Mac Pro, of course. But in the meantime, I mean, I was impressed with these. They talked about the current Macs, and we saw a little bit of this with the NVIDIA updates a couple of months ago, and they were like, well, you can there was strangely Mac drivers that came out for high-end NVIDIA cards. So, but we're like, you can't put NVIDIA cards in anything because we have iMacs and Mac Pros or MacBook Pros, nothing with a card slot, right? Then they started showing, well, you can get a Thunderbolt 3 enclosure, and basically you have a giant box next to whatever your Mac is, and it does that, and this is, probably more for, 3D high-end video, things, I'm not really touching, but still that the possibility exists, and that's what's important. And so you can develop those things for VR, for higher end systems, for, and have that power, and that expandability happen. It's again kind of not the dongle problem, but the bunch of stuff hanging off of my laptop. But still, like they're really kind of reasserting, as in we are a creator platform, and here's a middle finger to the Microsoft Studio Pro.
and I really like what they had to say, and I really liked this span. So if you look at the bottom level iMac, I think it starts at they cut $200 off the price. I think it starts like $12.99, and then it goes all the way up to the entry level of that Pro is $5,000.
And that's a 4K iMac.
Which the $1,200 one, yes, is a 4K iMac. The entry level Pro is the 5K. So I thought that was a pretty cool jump, even starting at that. I mean, you're talking up to, what was it, 128 gig of RAM, the 3 terabyte SSD. Obviously, you have multiple external USB-C Thunderbolt 3 ports. The reason that you were talking about earlier that those plugins went free was because it wasn't because they actually got Sherlocked. It's because that company got Sherlocked. It's because Apple hired that developer. The guy that was creating those plugins. They said, I think they pretty much said, we like what you're doing. Come work for us.
So they Sherlocked in the nice way.
Yes.
It's kind of like when those Photoshop filters, the people that did that got bought by Google, so they put them out for free. They were just talking about them on like This Week in Google last week. I forget what they're called, like the something collection. But okay, that's cool. So basically, like, those will start to be built in as tools, instead of needing a plugin for it eventually.
I'm sure too, to develop that content obviously takes that high-powered machine, but I think we've all seen that it doesn't take that type of machine to then run that content. So when you think of your Vives and your PlayStations and whatnot with the VR setups, I think you're going to get that downstream content at a decent view, and you're not going to need that kind of hardware to run it. It's the development of that content that's going to take those high-end machines.
I mean, one thing this does is seeing that $12.99 iMac 4K. I've been considering desktop solutions for kind of expanding out and people potentially working on things, and I've been looking at like the Mac Mini, because I'm like, well, you gotta, if I want something half decent, I need like a $3,000 iMac. I don't think I do anymore. And to get a nice screen with that, like that, it makes sense at $12.99 almost at this point.
Yeah, the one thing that did bum me out was they didn't update the Mac Mini. Hopefully, we'll see. I'm wondering, will that fizzle out, or will they somehow refresh that in an off month after the dust settles from this one? Will we see it in the fall? I don't know.
They really did mention MacBook Air getting an update too, so I think that's just they'll probably do a spec bump or something like that, but it's so low end, it still serves a purpose. And again, the Mac Mini still makes sense for like doing a box or something like that. So, but no, I think it looks really cool. And of course, they I think they updated the specs on MacBook Pros. I'm sorry, MacBooks in general, except for the Air currently, and kind of readjusted that price so you can get a 13-inch. MacBook Pro again at the $12.99 level. So I know it's still $12.99, but they're getting a little cheaper.
When you look at, like, I bought a 4K display, and I bought to be honest with you, a lower end 4K display, and it was still, I think, $350 on clearance on sale. So subtract that off of there, and you're looking at a $900 desktop. So for everything you're getting, I feel like it's not that overpriced. No.
I just, when you look at these versus the $300 laptops at Walmart, and that's what people are used to, and that's what a lot of people buy. That's what we bought for producer Missy, that's out there tweeting for us right now, and her laptop is already looking long in the tooth, right? And we made sure to get her a little bit more RAM and everything like that. But it is what it is. It was a $300 laptop, and it's time to buy another $300 laptop. Whereas I was fine putting another $600 in this 2013 MacBook Pro that we're using here. I could get another 2 years out of this thing.
But with the new file system too, I'm wondering, like that 2011 Air that you borrowed, that's actually eligible for upgrade, and I'm actually expecting a speed performance bump just because of the file system swap. So I'll be updating that to beta over the probably the next week and see what that looks like. So I'm pretty impressed with. I mean, that's a 7-year-old laptop, and it's still getting free OS updates. So, and they seem to be adding capability over time. Now there's things I miss out on, like it doesn't have Bluetooth 4.0, and I can't do some of the handoff stuff because of that. But to keep those old devices still churning, I mean, it's I think it says something from a device cost and strategy, Apple strategy perspective.
That big price comes with you knowing that it will last like that, right? Katie, how long were you running your Hello Kitty duct taped laptop? And you were terribly functional with that thing. Like, that was enough for you, right?
It was 9 or 10 years old, I think, because it was that thick white plastic. Yeah, that was ridiculous. I mean, it ran fine. Like, if I did not need certain things, I would probably keep using it. If there were certain programs like Photoshop and things.
Same thing with me. That's a 2007 iMac. That's a 10-year-old iMac sitting in the studio, and it gets a little sluggish because I think it probably needs a reformat. It'll probably be a little smoother, and it's only got 3 gigs of RAM and things like that. But man, it's solid. There's little problem with it. Maybe a little bit. Like, I think there's a little bit in the monitor is a little fading, a couple dead pixels here and there, but absolutely. And there's like old white iMacs back there that again work fine. They just can't get the new OS because they turned it off, and probably for good reason too, right? But they're fine.
The last iteration of the white polycarbonate MacBook actually is getting High Sierra.
Really? Yeah. It was like you couldn't get any sort of updates because the OS was like, you're just screwed. Just give up.
You're done.
Yeah, right. You should just buy a new one.
There were these lines like, if your thing could update to Snow Leopard, you've been good for a while, right? So like that was that last kind of technology line. Everything's just been kind of tinkering under the hood and not really, I want to say not pushing forward, but you don't need the performance at this point to push forward. You just need to refine, I guess, right? So I was Katie, did you get a look at any of the AR stuff that they were talking about?
No, there were a couple other things that caught my attention, but not as much as the AR.
Okay, we'll touch base on what caught your eye too here. But I was really impressed because they announced AR Kit in iOS 11, and I know Chilla, you'll have a lot more to say about iOS 11, and I don't think there's anything you could really get into with AR Kit, right?
Other than the 2 demos they did, I thought were really well done and really solid. And from a dev perspective, now obviously they had the likes of ILM there to help create some of that content, but it was extremely impressive. And I'm guessing they also weren't running that on hardware that's not going to be available, right? I'm sure the iPads were probably the new Pros that are coming out next Tuesday. But it wasn't like that was a modified iPhone with some core processor that we haven't seen. So to see how that's running on existing hardware, I think again puts the longevity in their device line, and I'm guessing anything that's going to run iOS 11 is going to run the majority of that content.
Oh, absolutely. I think maybe your low end, like maybe an iPhone 5 doesn't, or something like that.
And that's cut.
What's that?
The iPhone 5, 5C, and iPad 4 will not get iOS 11.
Wow, and this is going to be a big update because there's no 60. If your apps aren't 64-bit, like I've been getting this app is not going to work if the developer does not update it. Notice? Have you guys seen that?
I had to. I've already had to move off of. I was using an app called Files that allows you to connect back to file shares and whatnot inside your network, or other computer hard drives, etc., as well as integrating with things like Box and Google Drive and whatnot. It also had an internal FTP server that you could actually FTP files into the app from computers on your network. I had to find a replacement because that developer hadn't updated the app, I think, in 4 years, but it was still running. But yeah, it wasn't compiled for 64-bit. At work, we're going through some things of we have apps that are 32-bit internally that need updated. And to be honest with you, for what it takes for the dev, if the dev was making any money or cared at all, it would probably take less than an hour of his time, and the majority of that hour would be after he compiled the app, submitting the app to the App Store and getting approval. It doesn't actually take much to swap out that library.
It takes. Are we still paying attention to this app? Like I'm looking like one's mostly games are what's coming up for me, and sometimes like restaurant apps, right? Like an old X-Men and Mega Man X games that I had popped it up, and some indie stuff like Cannibal. So I think it's gonna be a sad day in September, October when this is released, and not a lot of them, but like when certain games and things like that stop working. So it'd be nice to have that old iPhone 5 or iPad 3 laying around, and at least you can like pull up some of the old games that you played. But other than that, I think it's a cool move forward. They're going all 64-bit. It'll make things a little more stable, probably. As we. Well, I want to say as we've seen with Windows, but never mind. But between that and the AR, which looks really solid, and it was also the stuff they were showing. Like we've seen these demos before, right? But not on realistic hardware. HoloLens.
Yeah, stuff that you don't have and probably aren't going to get anytime soon.
And just the little things like hey, that Pokemon game you're playing and you turned off AR after like 2 days because it got annoying, right? Actually would be interesting that Pikachu's sitting there on the sidewalk or on the table or something like that, instead of us trying to turn it off and on and position it right. So we can get really interesting like Pikachu's on your head, kind of stuff. So Katie.
Little critters on my head.
I'm interested to see what they do from a gaming perspective too, because when you think of like the puzzle room type games like Myst or something like that, they could turn some of that between AI and AR. They could turn some of those puzzle type games into your room, and you could be looking around and have to place a certain object in a certain manner, or
right. That thing like HoloLens was doing, right? Like we could do a thing where you have a big iPad Pro, you can hold it up and it's your window, right? It kind of sucks to kind of hold up an iPad in that regard, but it's for real. And we've seen some AR stuff on our iPhones and our iPads. When I was at the Formula event up at Michigan Speedway last month, Bosch had something where the thing was nobody could figure it out. Like even the company guy couldn't figure it out, And I'm sitting there figuring it out. They had a layout of a city, and you held it over, and it overlaid a digital moving city over it. It kind of looks like a little bit like the beginning of Silicon Valley, right? And you tapped on parts and it would show you stuff about their products and everything like that. But you had to hold it in such like the perfect way over the entire field for it to find all those markers. And if you didn't, which most people didn't, it just like, what am I looking at here? You just moved on to the next display, right? And it just didn't work because there was too much. But if it gets a little smarter, has that AR kit, can do a little bit more from there showing, it was really, really interesting.
I read that Gatwick Airport outside of London is actually going to build their internal mapping and allow you to say, I want to go here or I need to go here in the airport. and it's going to actually overlay. You're going to use AR to look around, but then it's going to show you the arrows kind of on the ground of where you need to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's like that, I don't know. That just popped in my head. This is a side awesome thing, I guess. When we were in New York, they put in a lot of the platforms. They're basically giant touchscreens, and then there was one actually at the airport here in Peoria. But they didn't have as much stuff. But you can actually put like where you want to go, and it will show you the line and draw out the arrows line to line and walk past and everything like that, like right there on the display. I thought that was really impressive. I want to get more to iOS 11 with you, Chilla, in a moment. But Katie, what kind of caught your eye from the Apple event this week?
I'm going to go to OS 11 too.
Okay.
Yeah, iOS 11. Because personally, what I'm having issues with my phone right now, and it's a, what is it, a 6? Yeah, it's a 6. I was like, where am I? What phone is this? It's a 6S. And what I'm running into right now constantly is there is something on my phone storage-wise, no matter what I delete, no matter how many pictures, videos, whatever I delete off of this, it's there. And I keep getting the storage notification. And then 2, the battery drain. There's something on the iOS, I saw the update for the 11, where it will customize things and give you kind of hints and tips between the storage. And then the battery is not supposed to be as much of a drain, because that's what I'm running into now. Out of nowhere, I'm going from that dreaded 10% to dead. Like I was just looking at my battery power now, and I was at 100%, and I'm at 36% right now on my phone. And usually I can make it through a whole show and then some. So I don't, it's like, I'm hoping the upgrade might help, but then I got to clear off all the space of the mystery.
Did you check to see if you were part of the battery recall?
Yes, I wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Poopy.
And we saw a little bit of that too. I can't remember if I had a battery replace last time I had that issue, or I just reformatted my phone. And it was either this. I think I might have had it with this. I think Missy was having some trouble with that too. So
my 6S, I was part of the battery recall, and I was having the same issue. I'd actually get to like 60%, and the phone would shut off.
Mm-hmm.
But I was part of that early lot of devices that, I went into the Apple store, they did a health check. They said, yep, you're part of it. And 30 minutes later, my phone came back out of the back room. Same phone, new battery.
Well, look at how much, how many of us have the battery saver feature from I think it was from the last iOS update. How much has that saved you in the last?
Well, how many people turn it on? Because even when I get the warning, I don't turn it on.
Well, I do. I'm especially when I'm traveling, like it's still in battery saver from being on the plane because it knocked down, and I just let it go. It was like, especially being in the air where you're not attached to anything anyways, why let all those systems go, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it helps me have a longer day, especially if I'm out and about and everything like that. I don't really lose features that are needed. I'm getting everything on my watch for the most part anyways, and my Pokemon, and and it works out. I live in it a lot when I have these long days, and I still have a battery pack on me, but I've been using it less and less, which is amazing since this is, probably a year and a half used phone. So the battery's definitely getting lighter. Like I was using it heavy in New York, and by the time we were like at our destination on the train, I was already needing to charge up. Because I was Instagramming so much and doing so much with it. So what I'm saying is another year of that, the features that Kay's talking about with the battery saver and everything is they're, again, it's those tweaks, right? And making everything a little bit better. So awesome. Anything else that caught your eye there, Katie?
Ooh, QR codes. Sorry, that was hilarious.
That was for China. I think they're a big deal in China. But are we getting them too?
I think we are.
Yeah, because it seems like we're going to be getting the QR. It's going to be built into the camera, as like we've waited for I don't know how many years to have that ability.
I'm glad after all these years, QR codes are finally going to catch on. So.
What would be funny is if they actually do catch on now. Like now that Apple's integrated it into all their cameras, because it's a part of Bixby too, I think, and the Android devices. And remember, it was built into the Google Glass. So remember, they were hiding exploits in the QR codes and early Google Glass.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out.
On Tuesday morning, there was a big marketing meeting at like a large number of companies saying, "I told you these QR codes." Now, everything that we have to reconsider every proposal. We, I mean, it does kind of do that. It was such a throwaway thing, and I think you heard snickers from the audience from that one a little bit. So, but no, it's great. So, Chilla,
Sir.
as usual, you live in the future, which means that you are currently. Are you allowed to talk? This is a public beta, right? So,
it's not public till the end of the month, but based on everything that everyone has posted out there, I'm guessing that anything that I'm gonna talk about is actually
out there.
Oh, look at that! It is built right into the camera. I just brought up a QR code on a website, and it gave me. I put the camera right over top of it on the iPad. So I'm actually running it on my iPad. But real quick, do you want me to do my awesome things of the week, or do you?
Yeah, go.
Okay.
Sorry, go for it.
Oh, no problem.
I just presume that was it.
These are all a lot of iOS 11 things, but they're things that were not discussed at in the keynote. I'm always interested in the days after, where people pull the keynote images and you see the picture with 1,000 different phrases behind them, and there's the ones that are white that they talked about, and then there's everything behind it that they didn't. In talking about that, obviously they dropped a hint at the QR code for China, but one of the things that's actually built in that you can add into Control Center is that there's built-in device screen recording, which I thought was pretty cool. So if you wanted to do a snap or any kind of social media and show someone what you're doing, or show them your screen, or build a recording of a game you're playing, etc., you can now screen record right on the device, which I thought was pretty darn cool.
Wait, so those awesome tip videos, which there should be a new one coming out this week. So instead of us having to string it to a computer with an application like Reflector to record it, you're doing it natively. Well, Android does this already, don't they?
Well, Android, the app has to do it, and the app keeps the recording, or you have to use a third-party program that sometimes will not work, and depending on the device, it may or may not work, and then some of them require root access. There's a number of caveats to the Android will do that. But yes, Android does have some capabilities, and Apple started into this with Replay Kit, which was a way for games to record kind of like a Twitch type stream. This is actually just the device recording. So I haven't played a lot with it, but I just activated it on my iPad, and I'm looking forward to actually checking it out. But yes, to your point, you could do a recording, and we could record right on device, and then I could actually just airdrop it to you right from the phone itself.
That's awesome. That's going to make those a little easier.
Some of the other ones that I saw, the NFC reader. So when we talk about near field communication, everyone griped that when they added the NFC chip in for Apple Pay, it could only be used for Apple Pay. It looks like they're going to be opening that up a little more. From the way it talked, it's going to be maybe one way to start. Maybe the device can only read the NFC and it can't pass back content. But that NFC reader will be available to devs. To what Dutters was talking about, you can actually set applications, if they're not used, to auto delete. The application, from my understanding, and I haven't played around with this one either, the application will actually leave its icon behind, but the app itself, all the content will delete, but it will leave the user-generated database and documents behind. So anything that you created after loading the app will still be there, but the guts of the application. So if you think of like a 1.2 gig game, right, sitting on your device, if you don't play it for a month or two, all your game saves, all that content's going to be there. The icon's still going to be there, but it's actually going to re-download the next time you tap on it.
Do they have like partial download start game kind of stuff? There's a term for it.
They have that for tvOS. I don't know if they have that for. I'm guessing that'll be baked in. I don't know, but they did start that concept on tvOS, where it would allow you. It would only download the first like level, and then as you were playing, it would let you then start playing, and it would start downloading the later levels as you played, and then clean up the prior levels that you completed. So I'll be interested to see where they take that. Business chat was a cool one that I thought that's going to be baked into things like maps, but any developer is going to be able to actually add it to their application, where you can start an instant chat with a business or software developer. So if you're looking at Apple Maps and you have a question about a business that you're going to visit, or should you go visit that business, you can actually instantly start a chat with that person or company. Same thing with applications. So I could see this for Uber, right? My Uber driver didn't show up, and it automatically then forwards that message within the Uber app to the driver in some kind of Siri text-to-speech type manner. So I thought it was pretty neat. And then another one that I actually like about Cortana, as well as Google Assistant, you'll now be able to type to Siri instead of being required to use your voice. Any of those Siri questions, commands, etc., you can actually type in, which I thought was pretty neat. And then from something that I kind of rolled my eyes at during the presentation, but over the last day I have found useful about 17 times, quick type, where it shows you the symbol above the character, and you, instead of, so like say @ above the letter A, I don't remember where it is on the keyboard, but if you kind of take your finger and just drag down on the key, it will actually hit that. It'll hit the symbol that's behind that key, and they're kind of grayed out above the letters on the keyboard. So for typing in passwords that have to be alphanumeric and special characters, it's definitely useful anytime you're typing in a password, which is super nice.
I think you tweeted about that or put it in Slack during about passwords, right? Was that what you were talking about?
Don't know.
So
I know the one thing that I thought was weird was now there's a password section in iOS where you can actually see in clear text all of your keychains, stored user IDs and passwords, and what website they go to, which is kind of nice and kind of scary all at the same time. Now it does require re-authentication, and if you have two-factor authentication, it makes you two-factor auth to the device when you go into that section in settings. But the quick type is more of a keyboard thing, and it's kind of how you can not have to switch to the symbols section of the keyboard if you're just typing one or two symbols. It kind of lets you swipe down on the key per se. And let me see here real quick.
Yeah, especially when you need characters that are like 2 layers down, it does get really, really annoying.
Well, here's one. So I don't know if you can see this. Probably not. Can you kind of see above the letters on the keyboard? There's symbols.
Sort of barely. I don't know if I can. I don't know if it's my connection. We'll see it.
Yeah.
Oh, you look okay on the feed actually.
But like above the Y on the keyboard, there's the number 6. And if I hold my finger on the key and swipe down on the key itself, it, instead of putting in the letter Y, it puts in the number 6. So like I said, it's kind of an easy way if you only have to type in 1 or 2 numbers, or you're typing in special characters for a password. It definitely is a huge time saver. And that, in a nutshell, is all of the iOS 11 awesome things that I had. I had a couple others, but I think those are the kind of the not talked about, kind of discussed in the back channels, and I put some links in there too that different blogs have been talking about features that Apple didn't mention, but are definitely should be front and center upon release.
Absolutely. I mean, the more I looked at it, like I felt like I was watching a parody when they announced an app called Files.
Yep.
And like Like, did I switch to Saturday Night Live at this point, right? So I like that in drag and drop. It's just like we're excited about drag and drop on the iPad. What is this? But really, it is turning that. I can see that iPad Pro, or just regular iPad, like that is your computer, right? And more you get that functionality of the computer, and maybe that's one more step towards maybe I don't need a computer that can get bugs and have to do updates and everything like that. So I'm really interested to see how that goes and how that becomes a little more productive. Like, is that a thing where we don't get Missy that next $300 laptop? We just hand her the iPad Pro or something like that. It's getting real close. And now I'm on that. I just need Photoshop kind of spot on there.
The thing that I thought was impressive about Files was not just about being able to drag and drop a file. It's that, and obviously they don't have the app inventory yet with integration points, but to have your Google Drive, your Dropbox, everything in one kind of finder, it to me is really nice to be able to integrate all those things together and then spin through and find all the content you're looking for. Right now, all I have access to is things that are in the local documents within the apps and my iCloud drive. But when you expand that out to OneDrive and Dropbox and Google Drive, that's where I think the real power is going to come into that file browser.
Yeah. It's looking like Katie. I know you do a little bit of podcast editing and everything, but a lot of what you do, I think, could get done on an iPad, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Easily.
Yeah. So I mean, it's I mean, we're talking like an iPad Pro is $1,000. Come on, but it's not like it's cheaper, but still.
Yeah, smidgy bit, couple hundred.
yeah, a little bit. I mean, we're still. This isn't something that we're gonna like pick up on a whim like a Kindle Fire, but.
I'm wondering too, are they going to go the route that they did with the phone, where you go in, you pay a monthly fee, and you're entitled to an upgrade or the buyout price at least for the cellular ones? When you think about that model, it would get more current iPads out on the street. It gets you in at a lower buy-in price because it's a monthly cost. That device then has cellular. Obviously, we talked about last week where you could kind of take your phone number anywhere on any device. That kind of now allows you to take and make a phone call if you want a 10.5-inch phone. But it kind of gives you that best of both worlds, and I'll be interested to see what Apple does when it comes to allowing for some kind of new every 2 or upgrade every year, and kind of pay a subsidy on the device monthly. And now you can pay for it with iMessage.
There you go. Yeah, that was interesting. The iMessage Apple Pay, which is like sending money on PayPal. I think it was a discussion I saw online. So
the thing that I found interesting about that is, notice they totally glossed over the Apple Cash Card. And I'm guessing it's not to not upset the banks. So
at least
when
not
you
yet.
get money from someone, it doesn't go in your iTunes account, and it doesn't go onto the card. It comes off of the card on the other person's device and onto your Apple Cash Card.
I like
and then it's up to you what you then do with that money. You can then deposit it in your bank. You can then do whatever you want with it. But it's on the Apple Cash Card, which I'm guessing is going to be a virtual card. I'm guessing they're not going to be issuing plastic.
Right. Oh, absolutely. I mean, well, it seems like a backstep that I have a card for PayPal.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there's so many terminals. Dollar General, you can use their PayPal account like without a card. Things like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's popped up a lot of places, but it's so inconsistent you can't really live on it. We have to speak of the one thing before we get out of here today. There's the HomePod. Again, I kind of felt like I was in a parody, and also I really started fading at that point. We're like 2.5 hours in at this point, and I'm just like, it's just. Katie, did this get any interest out of you? Chilla, I mean, HomeKit has got to be, interesting as part of this. I think he's kind of like over there on the videos.
I'll let Katie go first.
I just want to lean over and be like, you can see my TV with a VCR and DVD.
Oh, Katie, like
I
asked
did a street
questions.
transaction with an Echo.
Yes. Kate, yeah, that's right. You did a street transaction with your Echo Dot. It's like, this is no place in my home. And then she just talks to her TV and VCR, but that doesn't really, I mean, she thinks it responds. But I mean, it's nothing like, I mean, compared to like an Echo or anything, it doesn't look like something you think is going to have a better fit for you in your Apple ecosystem home than that did.
I don't know. Because the problem is like, I should feel like I should be more connected, but I think one of the things is I rent my home, which I think maybe if I owned it, things might be different. You know what I mean? Because then I could have more integrations like within my home universe. But right now, I don't need anything. I feel like, what's wrong with you?
Well, it's funny because I actually had to. I put in the outlets and new switches in the old apartment, and then when we moved out, I took them all. I kept all the old ones that were in there and took them all out. Took the new ones out, put the old ones in. So I did go through that. It does take some time, so I wouldn't recommend it for the typical renter, but it's possible.
Yeah, so the HomePod is basically, I mean, they're really kind of promoting it as a speaker.
And that's where I think that the interesting notice, the first thing they compared it to was Sonos, which is great audio quality. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a huge audiophile. I don't know about you guys. I'm happy with hooking up a $100 Bluetooth speaker to my $40 Alexa device. So I'm interested in it. The other thing that I thought was pretty cool was obviously there's the whole recycling, refabrication, pulling apart old devices. You notice that device is running off of an A8 chip. So I'm guessing some of those recycled devices have been taken back apart and they're throwing A8 chips off of old devices into that, which I think is nice. I just don't see the need. And the interesting thing, look in that room, there's no TV.
That's true, because everybody's got their iPads to look at.
I guess.
Listen. Don't you have a music room in your house where you just listen to music and have sparse furniture and a sink? Apparently, I mean, that's just the way it is. My Airbnb didn't have a TV, as Riz noticed. It's like, where's the TV? I'm like, well, so it's this is how people roll these days. But I mean, it's interesting. And again, that A9 chip, it's a little more powerful. It's probably way more powerful than it probably needs. But some of the stuff that was shown in these visuals was the fact that it pays attention to the shape of your room, so that
it can bounce the signal off and figure out where it's placed. And I'm interested too in the top panel. So obviously you get this Siri. Siri lets you know that she's listening and whatnot. That animation that comes up. I'm interested in what's the quality and capability of that panel, because will they start to display, can they display real content? If you ask what the temperature is Siri going to come back and say, and read you the temperature as well as display it there? And is Apple's commitment to accessibility, I'm guessing they're going to use that for more, which I think could also be a differentiator on the product. I'm not that interested in the speaker quality versus the capability. And I can talk to my phone to get a lot of that content, and I can play music on my stereo. Maybe as I build out different areas in the house, or as systems and equipment just go bad over time, maybe I would think about it. But $350 for one, and they pair up together. You can put more than one in a room. It's a pricey speaker in my mind.
You put this in there with the Google Home and your Amazon Dot that you got in a street deal off of Katie,
and then make them fight.
Oh, geez, make them fight for dominance of your home. I think that's where we're going, obviously.
Well, I'm wondering if the HomePod, like, their target is Bose. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm wondering if it's those all-in-one, because those cost around $1,000. So you're getting a pretty high quality. Like, if this is going to be your like home theater setup because you watch everything digitally, you don't necessarily have a television, but maybe or maybe you don't have cable, like the whole shebang. But I'm wondering if that's kind of their.
The entire family crowds around a 10.5-inch iPad.
It's just like the good old days. My dad would always tell me about how he listened to The Shadow and everybody crowded around the radio, right? Because that's what they had in the house, and listen to The Shadow, and only The Shadow knows. And we're just gonna surround. No, we won't have to surround the home pod because it'll just bounce everywhere intelligently in the room, so we can still be independent in our corners.
I'll be interested to see, because that's a December release. I think that's an end of year. I'll be interested to see if they somehow make some play to integrate this as wireless speakers that then work with Apple TV. I think that could be an interesting concept. And the other thing that I didn't see get played at WWDC, and I may have missed it because I got called into a meeting partway through. AirPlay version 2, which will be built into iOS 11, now supports multi endpoint devices. So you can actually say, go into Apple Music and play this song in this room and this song on that speaker and that song on that speaker. And you can actually, but I want this song playing in my living room and my kitchen. So you can actually take and stream multiple different songs to multiple different endpoints, which I thought was interesting. So it'll be interesting to see how, and obviously with the Apple TV, you can tell it to use an AirPlay device as your speakers. So it'll be interesting to see how they upplay that.
Be interesting to see. And also keep in mind, this doesn't come out till December, and they didn't talk much about the Siri aspect. So I would have speculation that maybe there would be some Siri announcements around the iPhone release that would maybe play into this.
And I'm hoping they really cover multiple users.
Yes. Have they on devices? So, but I don't think that's in their wheelhouse right now. No, you have to buy an iPad Pro for everybody in your home.
Well, but you're not going to buy a different speaker for every. This is a Sorg speaker, and this is Missy speaker.
Exactly, you're going to have 2 in each room.
This is Wicket speaker.
Exactly.
Google's supposed to be integrating that switch to recognize voice in the home. But I'm still not a fan of how Amazon does it, where you actually have to walk Alexa through a switch. So you actually have to, Alexa, you have to tell her to switch accounts. So like if you're saying take a note or put this on my shopping list, you have to tell her to switch accounts. And Google supposedly figured that out, but I don't have a home to play with, so be interesting to see how that works.
When we were talking about Missy getting an iPad, she says, "Watch it, Sorg. I still need my keyboard and number pad." Can you get a number pad on an iPad? There's got to be a keyboard.
No, not even on the 12-inch. There's no number pad. You can get a Bluetooth number pad she can carry around with her.
There you go. So you can get a Bluetooth something or other. It's not going to be like form fit, like or anything like that, but still.
Logitech announced a new case. I don't know if theirs has a number pad or not. That 10.5, you put a number pad off to the side, it's going to be kind of small.
That's true. But man, I mean, maybe you do most of your work there, and you have the old laptop. You just boot up for Photoshop. You know what I mean? There's some workflow there. But anyways, all right. I think we did good. Apologies to people that maybe had some stories for the week and everything like that. I had Missy put them in just in case, but I kind of knew how the show was going to go. So shout outs to Brandon always submitting a lot, like Amazon and GameStop teaming up for a joint trade-in program. So that's pretty interesting. Toyota's working on a flying car. Is Toyota? Oh, Toyota is going to be at my next event. Okay, Toyota is going to be in Nebraska when I go. So I'm going to ask them about the flying car. I think they are. At least they were at the last one. And Toyota's the one that I was in that iCar thing. The little 3-wheeled deal that I squeezed my ass into. But a lot of cool stuff this week. And Katie, VR porn is getting super realistic.
Yes. Oh, you gotta. Oh, this is fun. Now, I like this article, and it's a fun article to read. It's a Mashable article, and it was interesting because it's nothing earth-shattering, nothing we haven't talked about before. But this gentleman was at CES, and he was with Naughty America, which is one we really don't talk about. We haven't even talked about Naughty America. But I guess that's a different company. And I thought it was interesting because the way he talked about it is he kind of walked through how he felt and how he felt like he had the conversation that it wasn't a 360-degree experience like he was used to in VR, because you only want to look forward when you're watching porn, and it's the 180. And then he talked about that when he looked down, he had a very muscular body, and how disconnected he felt in the beginning. But as it went on, it became so realistic that when the woman in the video leaned forward to kiss him, he pulled back. And how he felt like this body belonged to him. It's just really interesting. So there hasn't been a lot of articles like written from somebody who wasn't directly involved with the industry about how it makes them feel in these videos and how realistic this is, that it's tricking your mind into like, I'm this buff dude and this lady's kissing me. So I think it's really neat. Like I just thought it was a super cool article.
Mashable
like it was
score.
almost, he's like, I'm going back to 2D porn because it's that realistic.
I think this is the one I read, but it was in a different format that didn't have obscene ads like this one is. Like I can't even get to the content without waiting for 30 seconds at this point, and it looks weird when I have my ad blocker on. So, but no, yeah, and it was talking about like that kind of feeling and everything when you're a part of it. So it was really interesting. If you want to check that out, and that's over at Mashable. And of course, I believe that is this linked in? If not yet, we'll share it over in the AwesomeCast group as well, so you guys can check it out yourselves. So thanks for keeping the porn in the show, Katie.
Of course, anything for you guys.
All right. Well, on that note, thank you everybody for joining us. Chilla, he's at chillatech.net, talking gadgety things.
Talking gadgety things. Come over, talk to me, Chilla on the Twitters, John Chill on the Facebook.
Yeah, of course, and I had Kay Dutters on the Twitter. Fantastic episode last week, with kind of dealing. It was like 3 of the top haunt owners in America, and the very interesting things, including a naked haunted house. And then I loved. And I was texting you when I was listening to this thing on the way back from New York. Where what do they do when the kids don't want to go in and the parents are making them, and some really interesting stories around that. Highly recommend it. Check out the Scare House podcast, and check out you do Scare House live on Facebook, and that is Fridays at noon. Damn it. Fridays. Somebody else did that to you last week, I think. But Fridays
I was like, it's Friday.
Fridays at noon, so you can drop in there, and you have a lot of people from Scare House, different aspects of it, and it looks like you guys are having a lot of fun over there.
Oh yeah, it's a great time, and I like the ability to interact with people right then and there live, so it's fun. I enjoy it.
Awesome. And of course, at Sorgatron on the Twitter. Follow my Instagram as usual. As I'm on a trip like this, I will be Instagram storying most of the day. You can hop on there if you're checking this out on Tuesday. I also download those videos usually and put them on my my Twitter and my Facebook, tagging Instagram stories. If you want to see that, actually, if you look through those, you can see how Chachi Takes Manhattan, the bachelor party of my best friend Chachi, happened this past weekend in New York City. Where we ran into the Sugar Factory and the Samsung store. So drop into that, see what's going on, and until next time, and thank you, producer Missy. I'm back at home eating our pizza from Slice on Broadway, probably, and keeping the tweets and everything all night. And thank you everybody for dropping in. Looks like a lot of you guys dropped into our YouTube feed tonight. So sorry there wasn't a chat room. I'm not sure why that was, because we usually have a chat room when we do this. We do this all the time on Wrestling Mayhem show for some of the shows, and we have a chat room every time. I just had one last night, so I'm not sure. Maybe it's because we don't usually do this account, perhaps, but yeah. So let's know what you thought of that, and if are we better quality when we just do it this way or not? So I'm glad this connection at this hotel held up. Check out everything awesomecast.com. Please subscribe to everything. Follow us on patreon.com/awesomecast. Thank you to our awesome watchers. You've been our awesome audience. Have an awesome week. All right, guys. Thank you, live stream. I'm going to cut off here, and we'll see you guys. We'll be on the Wrestling Mayhem Show YouTube page doing the same thing at 10 p.m. Eastern time. Thanks.